The end of reason, and probably my marriage. Prelude. My wife entered my life more than 15 years ago, as teenagers. After a couple years of being friends, we admitted we had more to share with each other and entered into a romantic relationship. I struck gold. She was out of my league and everyone knew it but her. As we grew into adults, her goals and ambitions became mine, and she selflessly made mine hers. We developed a mature love by a young age. We lived apart in college, and in different states altogether our upperclassmen years. As anyone who has stepped foot on a college campus can attest, it takes a special kind of trust and respect for the dignity of your significant other to not cave to campus temptations, but we made it through with nothing more than forgivable demerits. Our first pregnancy occurred in our 7th year together. It was entirely unplanned and unexpected, and we were rightfully terrified of becoming parents. Fresh out of college and worth less than the clothes on our back with a medical circumstance that would delay the start of my career by about 6 months, fate was pointing to her parents' basement. This didn't settle with me. I found a dead-end door-to-door sales job that I left after a month because the panic attacks became intolerable, but not before I scrapped together the $1,000 we needed for the eventual deposit on our apartment. My medical circumstance passed and my job search took a turn for the better. We secured an apartment from an ownership group that had DNI'd us at the beginning of the pregnancy. I literally walked into the office with a copy of my job offer and said, "See? I'll have the money." We moved in 18 days before the birth without even an item of furniture. Our first night of independence was spent eating leftover pizza on the floor of our new apartment while watching movies on my laptop because we didn't own a TV. But our new home was beautiful, we were proud, and we raised our daughter there for the next 2 years. In our 10th year together, a second pregnancy greeted us with surprise and we greeted it with elation. Okay, sure, our heart skipped a beat, but then we were elated. But we had outgrown our small home, and it was time to find a better one. Better turned out to be much, much better, a testament to our investment in ourselves and shared commitment to financial wellness. Interlude. Now, the biggest regret I have in my relationship is not asking for marriage sooner. We justified putting it off on practical grounds. But we confessed to each other that it is something we both wanted, and it was clear that we'd have already wed if our cards had played differently. Our engagement was celebrated, and then promptly interrupted with the arrival of COVID in the United States just weeks later. But after an elongated engagement, we planned an extravagant wedding in a dreamy destination, a toast to the lives we carved for ourselves and the years yet to come. Before our families and closest friends, I expressed my love for her, my promise to be faithful, and made a commitment to endure even during the worst times. I gave her my vows. How fortunate am I to marry the girl I fell in love with more than 13 years ago. We were teenagers and it was an innocent love, but it was love. When we were older and lived apart, I fell in love with you again. This was a different love though, a more mature love weaved with dignity and trust. And of course there's the love I discovered for our girls, for our family, and for you as a mother. There are all kinds of love in this world, but never the same love twice. The point isn't to fall in love once, but over and over again for the rest of our lives. And that is what I vow to do. I've known my wife for 15 years and have been in love for nearly as long, and now we've been married for 8 months. D-Day. Unfortunately, there's a lot more to say about the past 2 days than there is about the last 15 years. 2 days ago, my wife confessed to me that she is in love with a female colleague of hers. Dumbstruck that she was coming out to me as bisexual and leaving me in the same breath, she calmly explained that she was having an emotional and physical affair with this woman over 8 or 9 occasions in the past 2 months, and she is making the decision to end our marriage and pursue this new relationship, but she is excited to co-parent with me. She is confident that she is not destroying our family, rather, she is helping our children since they no longer need to observe an unhappy marriage. I was blindsided, as this is the first time the words unhappy marriage had ever presented in a conversation of ours. I've spent nearly 50% of my life as a partner to this woman, and in 30 seconds she shared how flagrantly and unremorsefully she violated her promise of fidelity to me, while also robbing me of the opportunity to honor my vows for better or for worse. My evening today ended particularly dramatically, with the affair partner telling me on the phone that my wife is a strong, confident woman who can make decisions on her own. I agreed, but also reminded her that my wife's business is none of her ducking business. After pressing her, she conceded that this is not the first marriage she has involved herself in, but true love can't be explained with reason or logic, and time spent in a relationship is a trivial factor for love. She believes she's never loved a woman like she loves my wife, She never will again, and she is prepared for my wife and children to move in with her. My wife is far less romantic about her affection for her affair partner, but resolute that she is the best thing for her right now. The affair partner further lectured me that every woman needs to find her truth, the same mercurial words that have entered my wife's vocabulary in the past 48 hours. When pressed further on whether she has even a basic appreciation for the marriage she is abetting the destruction of, she said her view of marriage is probably different than mine since she was denied the right to marry until 2015, a sideways confession that she had considered my life and family and decided we don't matter. My wife's values have completely shifted in an alarmingly short period of time. When I point this out to her, she accuses me of gaslighting her, claiming she has always believed that marriage is a patriarchal institution designed to trap women in marriages even if they are unhappy, and ours was a simple legal agreement she is choosing to vacate. In any case, she continued, she has reached the truth that she hasn't been in love with me for at least 5 years and she never should have married me in the first place. Any attempt to persuade her otherwise is met with contempt, and if I try to appeal to a sense of decency and morality, she shuts down the conversation by accusing me of flexing paternalistic superiority over her. While she admits she should have handled this differently, she refuses to regret it, and any topic that touches on how her exceptionally poor judgment is bound to lead to a sad and grievous outcome for our family is completely off limits to her. I love my wife deeply and I will keep my vows because I meant them when I said them, and I owe at least that much to my children, but these events have left our marriage circling the drain at a record pace. Story 2. Need advice 35M on how to proceed since affair 33F discovered. This Friday will be 1 month since I figured it out. We were friends for 1.5 years and we've been together now for 9, married for 3 as of last week. I'm assuming that the affair has been going on since early summer when she changed jobs. I was unhappy for months and had a feeling something wasn't right, which prompted me to figure it out. She's conflict avoidant, which I never realized because we've never had real issues. We've had moments of unhappiness, I'm sure, but no serious issues. The person she's with now was a boss mentor at her previous job and is nearly twice her age. When confronted originally, she broke down with the "I've been unhappy for a long time," and then days later during another conversation she characterized our marriage as never spending quality time together. We've remodeled multiple houses and still made time for movies, dinner, friends. When talking to my best friend about this, he even said that's BS because it's always stuff to schedule things because we're always busy together. This year hasn't been great past the start of the year, but I know now it's because her time wasn't devoted to us. She has been acting so outside of her normal character that it's bizarre to interact with her. I've brought facts to her and she'll outburst to change the subject or avoid the question altogether. I think the affair is a form of escapism. It's all very frustrating. It all kind of feels like a fever dream. I'm sure I'm different in that the Taimul aspect isn't what really bothers me. It's the betrayal and neglect. Tomorrow I start seeing a therapist individually. We can't do couples counseling because she's still talking to the AP and says she doesn't want to work on the marriage. I'm also about to set a boundary and the husband things are coming to a halt until she cuts contact and gives me an apology. Luckily we live in a large house so I can move into the other side of it. I've probably been too nice so far, being that I'm compassionate and know that she has to hurt too. I'm willing to wait this thing out. Maybe she comes around, maybe she won't. Who knows? We're both successful and I'm a good-looking guy, so I don't need her, but I want her. Happy to answer any questions. Just looking for anecdotal advice on how you dealt with your situation. How long did you wait before filing? Separation or divorce? Did your SO's behaviors completely change after discovery? Did they take a while to apologize? Tia. Edit. FYI, the AP lives in another state but travels often to our town for work. They video call each other all day. Update. Need advice 35M on how to proceed since affair 33F discovered. Hello all. I just wanted to give an update to my previous post from weeks ago. My WW doubled down on secrecy and continuing her affair, so we are divorcing. I've been going to therapy weekly. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to get out of it yet, but I think it's helped just to talk about it. I also have a huge support network of friends who have been an absolute treasure to me. She still hasn't talked to anyone in any real detail about her side of things. She's kept everything very secretive. She removed all signs of our marriage from the house after I left. I took the dogs and left a week after the above post. I didn't talk to, or see, her for 3 weeks. She sent a few passive-aggressive texts in that time, but I didn't respond to anything that didn't require my attention. She finally reached out to talk about our next steps. I met her at our house last night. Everything seemed like it was going well until she started saying that she felt she was owed more out of the sale of the house than she is. So now it seems like we'll be getting separate lawyers. She also has kept up this delusion that somehow I'm spying on her. It's still all very bizarre, but I've come to be okay with it, kind of. It still hurts if I think about it too much. I've made myself at peace, for the most part, that I'm divorcing someone I don't know. She's no longer the woman I married, and this divorce has nothing to do with me or our marriage. Story 3, is it cheating? I am really hurt and I just don't know. I've been married for almost 10 years and I met her through a video game. We talked online in the game for a long time and then it went from there. She moved from her family to be with me and later we got married. We were a lot younger, and as I got older, work and life got more complicated, so I gave up games. We even have a kid. She didn't give up games. She still works full-time and plays 7 hours or more a day, every day. That really should have been my first clue. We have never had an amazing marriage. I find myself yelling at her a lot to help out. It's always been that way even before I gave up video games. I do a majority of the cooking, cleaning, shopping, childcare and more. I hands down do at least 90%, and I work a full-time job, while she plays games. A few days ago, I was looking for something and it was innocent. I found a book which I thought my wife was using to write about work. I opened it up and the first page I read, my wife wrote that she had fallen for 2 men in the game she plays. That she loves them more than me. Neither are in the same country as us. I confronted her about it, but I never got a truthful answer, just blamed me for pushing her away. I know she probably didn't even kiss them since they live so far away, but my trust and belief in everything is broken right now. She claims she didn't cheat and I don't know. But she was using video and audio chats while playing a lot. I would assume it got S-time at some point. And during the period her book mentioned them, our S-time life got noticeably better, so how much was it this? Does it even have to be S-time to be cheating? So confused and hurt right now. Update, my wife asked if I wanted to go on Tinder. I am just putting poop together still, but I just remembered something from several years ago. I thought I was in a dead bedroom at the time, but my wife was talking to other men. Well, one weekend I was complaining about our situation and she offered up to let me go on Tinder. I really thought about it and looked at it but never pulled the trigger. I thought really hard, but I kept going back to, this will ruin my marriage even if she approves it, so I didn't. I loved my wife at the time and it wasn't worth it. Looking back, all I can say, she either wanted to lessen her guilt or catch me and fault me for the marriage. Update, found more, and that's not all. My wife went to visit her side of the family and I decided to snoop again. Last minute she left her computer, which she always brings with her, so I decided to take a look. It's not my first time, but last time I was cut short and I couldn't save anything. I found more than I bargained for. I knew my wife had been talking to men online, but apparently she started before we had our son, and this was news to me. It continued after, but I knew about then. It wasn't the conversations with the men that I was reading either, it was her talking to friend about it. From what I can glean, so I still need to dig for those. But the short list is, she spent a lot of time ridiculing me in bed. The carpet does match the drapes, so pics were shared. Not sure if she sent any, but I'm only good for jewelry. I am completely to blame. My wife's affair is justified. She contacted a divorce attorney and she was working up more lies to get full custody, more importantly support and alimony. I broke down and immediately texted my wife, we need to talk. I wanted a real conversation when we got back, but I was seeing red at this point. I should have waited, but I couldn't. For the next 2 days, as I poured throughout her messages, I was texting her play-by-play of her exit. She was of course livid. I broke her privacy but duck her. She denied it all, but I eventually started sending the chat log to her to let her know I wasn't, and unless she was a complete moron, I knew. That was last week and I am now sitting at home. My wife is here and has been a perfect angel for days, as if nothing happened, and trying to repair the damage. I cannot look her in the eye. I am cordial by nature, so while my mill is here nothing is going to happen and it is super awkward. Well, duck her and her diter. And my wife doesn't know I've been in contact with my attorney all month. I've got big plans ahead for my attorney, so just hoping my attorney can handle it. Story 4, 312 years gone. Fiance cheated and she is pregnant and leaving me for him. How do you stop the pain and hurt? 4 weeks ago I received a text from my GF fiancée that she was pregnant and it wasn't mine. She moved out that day. 2 weeks later I text her to check on her and we met for dinner. The next day I went with her to her first ultrasound because he said it wasn't important. We spent a little time together, but she had expressed she didn't want me involved and to leave her alone, so I blocked her. The next morning I wake up to an email saying she needs me. She came over and we spent Christmas Eve together. My son left at 7:30 to go to his mother's. That night she cried in my arms. I cried. She said she wished it was mine. She asked if she had a miscarriage if she could come home. I said yes at first, then I said I want to be your first choice. I begged her to get an abortion and come back home. She said no and left. I lost it. I almost ended everything, but a picture of her and my son stopped me. I went to the hospital that night to get help. She lives with and is having a baby with a guy she doesn't know. Up until all this he had never even taken her out on a date, it was just meet at his place and have sex. She has cut off contact completely. I can even see that I'm the lucky one. We have had a rough year, but she was the one I wanted to marry. I have a great job, a nice home, I'm healthy, a great relationship with my son who I have 50%. How do I make the pain stop? I can't eat, I can't sleep, I'm useless. Update, I tried to get her to come to her senses but she refused. Maybe, definitely that was stupid of me. We are NC right now, probably more her than me though. I have my first therapy appointment the 16th. Have a co-therapy session with my son and I together with a therapist he was seeing during his mother and I's custody battle. Also have an appointment to see my family doctor tomorrow. Nighttime is the worst. If I do fall asleep, all my dreams have her in them. I wake up with more anxiety than I did before. Update, just wanted some closure. I don't know why, but I can't keep NC and it just pushes her away more. Not like she is the best thing for me now. I wanted to meet just cause our last encounter was so upsetting. I wanted at least to leave things on some sort of good terms. I kept pushing and made things worse. I finally got to the doctor and got some stuff for the anxiety and to help me sleep. I've probably lost 10 pounds this past few weeks. Why can't I let go? Why does it hurt so bad? Redditor's reactions. Redditor 1, because she is like a drug to you, you're having withdrawal symptoms. You need to go cold turkey. Clearly she cheated on you, and you should not take her back. Cry. Yell. Scream. Then walk. Redditor follow up. Well put. You are going through withdrawal from oxytocin and vasopressin. She was your dealer. Your brain wants another fix. Get outside into the sun. It will help boost your vitamin D production, which will likely boost dopamine production. Plus whatever physical activity you can tolerate. It will take a few weeks for your body to complete the withdrawal. Yes, it sucks, but you can do it. It's okay to miss her. Just remember you miss the person she was before she blew her life, and yours, to smithereens. Redditor 2, closure is something you give yourself, not something anyone else can give you. You're looking in the wrong spot for it. Try accepting that it's over and looking inside yourself for closure. Redditor 3, I haven't read your entire post. I saw she is pregnant with another man's baby though? That tells you who she is. Everyone on here will tell you that millions of times. She's a terrible, disgusting human being. It's true. I'm 5 months into this with my ex-W. She said she was unhappy, her reasoning for cheating. It's not your fault and it's not mine. Here's the truth. Your ex is going to live this life and have this baby with some random guy. You can almost fully expect her to come crawling back in 6 months to a year. These cheaters almost always realize what they've done from what I've heard. If they don't crawl back, they still know what they did, just may not admit it. You need to try to build a life without her. So, when she does try to come back, you can tell her to call her boyfriend. You and your family do not deserve what she's done. Cheating is terrible. She's having another man's kid. She's trash, that's beyond unthinkable. Good luck to you. Redditor 4, you have unanswered questions, she is unwilling to answer. This creates a cycle of abuse. As tough as it may seem right now, your best advice is to forget about getting any satisfying answers from her, to go no contact with her, and move on knowing you are not at fault for her lack of respect and integrity as a person worthy of your valuable time. Best of luck. Redditor 5, you are in trauma and you are trying to make sense of it all and find some firm ground. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Now that you have done the pick-me dance and come across as desperate and needy, you need to stop and put that behind you. You are not going to get the answers and ending you want. You might in 6 or 12 months' time when she reflects, but the reality is by then if you are doing everything right you won't care. Stop all contact with her. If you feel the need, go to the gym, walk, etc., but go total non-contact. It is the best and most simple way forward.